You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Shanika Grimshaw in for Mark Hall. Our top story today, Metro riders will see a slight increase in fare prices starting Sunday. Metro says the new fares will keep the price in line with cost of living adjustments and its service running at its current level. DC News Now's Yamari Sase has the details.
Now, the new Metro fare will increase by about 12.5%. It'll definitely impact everyday riders, but it also depends on how far you are traveling. Now, the starting rate currently is about $2, but starting on Sunday, that will go up to $2.25.
I don't like that idea. I mean, people are struggling right now.
Some Metro riders are not looking forward to the new fare prices starting on Sunday.
I'm not loving it. It seems small, but that adds up.
While others don't mind.
I'll definitely feel it, but I know that it's going to something I use every day and appreciate, so not too bad.
Omada says the new fares will help keep the price in line with the cost of living adjustments and its services running at its current level. Regular fares for Metro Bus will now be $2.25, and the Express Bus will cost $4.80. Metro Rail will range between $2.25 to $6.75 on weekdays, but after 9:30 p.m. and on the weekends, it will range up to $2.50. Again, this all depends on how far you're traveling, and Metro Access fares will be at $4.50. Now, last year, Metro did increase fares for some trips, but this year the prices are increasing all across the board.
I think public transport should stay cheap. It's public transport.
I am happy with it because I appreciate supporting the Metro.
Now, for a better idea of how much your entire trip will cost, you can definitely visit WMATA's website and check out that trip planner, or you can visit our website, dcnewsnow.com. And remember, all of these increases will begin on Sunday. We're now reporting in DuPont Circle. I'm Yamari Sase, DC News Now.
All right, Yamari, thank you. A ride on the Metro isn't the only thing getting more expensive. A new report from Maryland's Office of People's Counsel finds the cost of utilities is increasing in the state. And the report claims that many gas and electricity rates have doubled or tripled since 2010. OPC says companies like Columbia Gas, BGE, and Pepco have seen the biggest increase. Meantime, prices for companies like Potomac Edison and Washington Gas have risen much more slowly, mostly keeping up with inflation. OPC says this is due to the state policies allowing high profit margins for utility companies. And let's get right over to meteorologist. This is a new face here, Jackie Layer, new face to the noon show. Not the morning show, though.
Right, no. We're just continuing the morning show now.
Right, yeah, this is, what, the 5th hour?
Yeah.
How's it going to look today? So earlier when I left, I was talking about this earlier, it was so nice and breezy. Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing out there for the rest of the afternoon. Get outside and enjoy it. Those current temperatures actually just jumped up to about 80 degrees already in D.C., but we're seeing those mid to upper 70s. Back over towards Hagerstown, Manassas as well. You're 78 currently in Fredericksburg at this noon hour. Those dew points are still holding steady in the 50s. This is a much more comfortable air mass. We'll take this any day in late June. However, this is not sticking around for the weekend. So like I mentioned, you want to get outside and enjoy this. We're seeing that wind picking up mainly out of the east. It was out of the north and east earlier, and that will continue to move its way farther south and east, or becoming out of the south and east later on today. But those winds right now between 5 to 15 miles per hour. It's all because of that high pressure that's centered just to the north of New York City, and that is propelling those winds mainly out of the east at this point. Watching that batch of rain back over towards the Midwest, we'll be tracking some storm chances into your weekend as well. But if you're planning out the rest of your day today, hey, we're still going to be tracking the dry conditions for your Friday. It's an easterly breeze by 1 p.m. still, breezy and comfortable as we get towards the 5 o'clock hour, right around dinner time. Temperatures holding to those mid to upper 80s today. Upper 70s just a little bit after sunset. Sunset this evening is at 8:37. Now, Futurecast shows us through the day, like I mentioned, really great out there. And then overnight tonight, we start to cloud up ahead of that system. I'll be bringing that chance for some isolated thunderstorms out there for your Saturday afternoon. Most, if any, of those Saturday storm chances will be mainly back over towards our westernmost areas. And again, that'll be mid to late afternoon tomorrow, but more wet weather and more storms on the way for Sunday. We did make it a DMV first warn day. I'll have more details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Shanika?
All right, it's looking good out there, at least for today. Developing now, 2 D.C. police officers are recovering after being bitten by a dog in Northeast. The video here that you can see on your screen, that's from the scene last night on Minnesota Avenue near the Metro station. Police were responding to a shooting in that area. They say the officers have minor injuries. It is not clear what happened to the dogs or dog. Now, if any arrests were made. Developing now, the Supreme Court issuing rulings on high-profile cases today. The court making it harder to charge January 6 defendants with obstruction. It's a charge that's also been brought against former President Donald Trump. The justices ruled 6-3 that the charge of obstructing an official proceeding must include proof that defendants tried to tamper with or destroy documents. Only some of the people who violently attacked the Capitol on January 6, 2021 fall into that category. Also, the court ruling can enforce bans on homeless people sleeping outdoors. In a 6-3 decision, the High Court reversed a ruling by a San Francisco-based appeals court, which found outdoor sleeping bans to be cruel and unusual punishment. It comes as a rising number of people in the U.S. are without a permanent place to live. Homelessness growing 12% last year to its highest reported level. DC News Now is your local election headquarters. The first face-off of the 2024 election cycle comes to a close. President Biden and former President Donald Trump went head-to-head last night in the first 2024 presidential debate. National correspondent Rashad Hudson has the highlights.
This was far from your normal presidential debate. No live audience, muted microphones, and two of the oldest candidates to ever debate each other. In a rematch from 4 years ago, President Biden and former President Trump faced off Thursday night for the CNN presidential debate, the first of the 2024 race.
You're the sucker. You're the loser.
He should apologize to me right now.
A stark contrast in style and tone from the last presidential debate, with some stumbles right out of the gate.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
For 90 minutes, the candidates responded to questions from the moderators about the economy, immigration, and abortion rights.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that.
The Biden campaign said the president's raspy voice was due to a cold. A 78-year-old Trump and an 81-year-old Biden faced questions about their fitness for office.
This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent.
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them.
Both candidates will be back on the campaign trail today, bringing their message directly to voters. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson, back to you.
Former President Trump is following last night's debate with a trip to Virginia today. He is expected to speak in front of thousands of people at the historic Greenbrier Farms off the Chesapeake Highway. Merchandise stands are popping up nearby. They have shirts, flags, cups, and much more.
People come in left and right every 5 minutes. Some people pulling up. They're very excited for having us here.
And I've been doing this since 2015. It's not just my business. I love what I do. I love this country that we're living in, and I don't like the fact of what's going on with the country, you know. I'm 43 years old, and I really do think Trump is the best man for the job.
The rally is set to begin at 1:30 today, and Trump will begin speaking at 3. 1209, D.C. Council advancing a bill that might bring reparations to African Americans in the district. The council voted to use $1.5 million to create a task force responsible for figuring out how reparations will be given out. One person tells us she's hopeful about the bill, but understands there might be some pushback.
A hard dialogue, because you're right, not everybody is receptive to the idea of giving money away, as it were, to those that were harmed. But I'm finding through my efforts, at least, that there are people who are receptive to listening.
Other cities or other U.S. cities are paying reparations through housing, but they're being sued over their initiative. And new at noon, the D.C. Housing Authority releasing a new plan to provide more affordable housing across the district. The plan is titled the 3-Year Recovery Plan, and it maps out the authority's project to create quality public housing and vouchers for D.C. residents. Those goals include providing quality housing units for residents and creating a safe living environment, managing distribution of housing subsidies for voucher holders and landlords, and to have a central administration to support the ability to provide quality housing units and manage the placement of vouchers in the private rental market. D.C. Housing Authority says they will periodically release progress reports as the plan is in place. Now, they say the reports will allow the public to provide feedback on the plan. And happening this weekend, the 3rd annual Arlington Pride Festival. It's starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Long Bridge Park in National Landing. It goes until 7 p.m. Then the festivities continue on Sunday with a drag brunch at Surreal Restaurant. Organizers say the festival is the closing ceremony for Pride Month.